You're listening to the B4evaKool podcast. My name is Rex45.
My name is TJ with Two Wheels and Coffee.
What's going on, man?
Just keeping on updates with motorcycles, like everybody, I'm assuming. Waiting for the season to start.
Of course, everybody.
Just ended, but just ended. Tests are happening, but I'm just ready for the new season. There's so much to look forward to. So, got like 3 months before it starts, and for myself living in New England, probably got like 4 to 5 months before I can hit the streets or even the track because it's a little cold up here. So
Yeah.
just listening to what's going on, all the new news out there and updates and new bikes out and all that good stuff.
Right. So you're doing like the rest of us. We're on YouTube, searching for the next bike to buy, searching for the
New
latest,
videos out.
yeah, latest videos of
Nothing's
people.
coming out.
It's crazy getting through the off season. Even though I'm fortunate this year to be able to continue to ride without heated gear, even. I do remember all the other years it was kind of like, yeah, I'm looking at these websites because I'm buying a helmet, I'm buying gloves, I'm buying boots. I need to do this one, but I need to buy a battery because my battery died, which I just actually did, and it just came in earlier today for the dirt bike. So excited about that. So this is the time to kind of do all that, and like you're saying, watching those videos and or watching old MotoGP races or World Superbike races of Moto America, the Canadian, the Australian. You know, don't I think everybody does that, don't they?
Well, yeah, I'm sure everybody you see a new race pop up and you'd be like, okay, 3 weeks ago. You're like, all right, cool. That's something new I could watch. When it
Exactly.
says like a year ago or 2 years ago, you're like, what's new out? But
If it
the
says a
season
year, not to cut you off, if it says a year ago, 2 years ago, and I haven't seen it, I'll probably watch it. But if I've seen it, then yeah, I'm like,
if I have nothing to watch for sure. But you keep scrolling to see what's the newest
yeah,
motorcycle video that's out, and that's pretty much what I've been doing. So
right, right. You can go ice racing, so up that way you definitely can do that. So
yeah, I'll probably see if they got tickets for sale to spectate.
we can
See
feel
how
it out
much.
first.
Yeah, I got a bunch of friends that want me to go skiing and snowboarding, so
Okay,
sure I'll have to choose that over ice racing.
no doubt. I will say, I owned a pair of skis once in my life, and I never went skiing. And it's
I don't think you
something that
should
I'm,
say that.
huh? Say
I
again.
don't think you should say that. They're gonna be like, "Oh, come with me."
Well, I'm down to do it. So, it's something that I want to do. I won't say it's like a bucket list, but I think I'll be good at it. So I don't know whether skis or snowboard which way to go. I hear, I believe snowboarding is a little bit easier, but
Easier on the legs, I was told. So
okay.
like,
So,
I
I mean,
guess over the day you can probably walk instead of skiing, where you use all your legs to get around. Well, I don't know. I don't really go as much either, but
right. Well, if you make it out to Colorado and you got a trip planned, give me a shout. I hear it's the sun is out and you can be in shorts and a t-shirt and be on the slopes.
man, I might try the hills first for Colorado.
Blue
So,
Hills.
uh, so we're in New Hampshire, Vermont,
Right.
and then
Gotcha.
I get good, take a trip to Colorado.
All right. Well, make it happen, man. You got 4 months. Well, else you can't hit the track, so you might as well hit the
Right.
slopes every other weekend. I think some riders that I don't know what the term is, but they do love to go to the slope, ski often.
Oh, there's a couple of them I know for sure.
So for sure. So just a phone call away, TJ.
They've been calling me, so it's kind of just saying yeah, but
Right.
I'm sure I'll try to go this year for
Must
sure.
be nice. Must be nice. Yeah. No, for me, I don't have the luxury of getting some snow on my body. But down here, it looks like I can go to the track a little bit more often. So, after the holidays, I'm hoping to get in some track days in January. and then start hopefully racing in February. I'm looking to probably join some more clubs and really just try to just get to some new tracks, like I said earlier, and just keep you know keep doing some track days, and I mean, not keep doing track days, but just keep riding and racing. The downside is I'm probably not going to be in one club long enough to like fight for some title or something like that, which is the part that's kind of like you know it's nice to look at an end goal, but it's also nice to know that okay, yeah, I'm probably going to do like 10 rounds next year, and a good amount of those might be all new tracks. And at first going to new tracks was kind of weird, but after a while, it got easier to learn the tracks. And so for me, going to new tracks and just having some fun because like we said in the last show, I got into racing later in life, and so for me, it's just really more about the experience and just as like I wanted, I hope to do Laguna Seca, I hope to do Coda, and a lot of these other tracks.
You just gotta get first place every time. Give yourself a chance.
Well, I'm in that race for that weekend. I'm going to do my very best, no doubt. But I also recognize that I'm not going to go to a track for the first time and win, right? So that's that it is what that is. So I'm not worried about it. But it's not about that. If it's a track I like a lot, I'll be back. So you know what I mean. I'm not too concerned about that at the moment. You know what I mean? So for me, that's what I'm looking forward to next year. So probably 10 rounds, some new tracks, and have some fun. And for the weekend, I'm gonna try to do my best, for sure. So we'll see.
Or you got some new faces, new competition, so that'll be exciting, I'm sure. You can bring your basically your talents down to South Beach.
Right? That's always
So
the cool part, man. Meeting new people. Uh, I'm very standoffish. I tend to stay to myself. So usually people come up to me and talk. I really don't go and chat up with people. But it's still cool to when people come up and ask you about your bike or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's always cool and hearing other people's story as well because we all got our visors down and we all on go mode. But after the race is over and you're talking to people, you hear what else they do and what they have done and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
yeah, that should be a good time. Like you said in January, would you say February or January?
February,
Okay, so that's very short time. I mean, those weeks will pass by pretty fast,
I hope.
and you'll be back out there. I'll just probably just be checking on the race hero or something and getting new updates like I am doing now. Waiting to my time.
Listen, man, come on down. Come on down. You don't got to stay up that way. Just need a plane ticket. That's all. I got a bike waiting
Like,
for you.
and as long as as we talked about all the time, you just make sure you're prepared for everything. I'm sure you will be. To make sure you got your tire warmers, your safety wires, your all your plugs and stands,
Hmm.
and make sure you know what time to be there and find a nice spot where you can relax before you get in because we all know we all been through it where you might be running late just because of what's going on and things get chaotic from there. And you want to go to have a good time and not just be stressed all weekend.
You're right. You're absolutely right about that. I think for newer riders, yeah, definitely, do as much as as TJ said to be prepared for that because you don't like on the track is hectic enough. Getting your mind right is hectic enough. Don't add to it with off the track stuff that if you just spent more time sooner. If you just did it earlier, you can alleviate those things. Some things, maybe not all, but most things you can alleviate if you plan ahead. But when you're a new rider, you're going to make those mistakes. I think if you've been riding for a while and you're still making those mistakes, then that's a different story. But new riders definitely you're gonna make those mistakes. But since you've been checking out our show and other shows like this. Um, it's all about the preparation.
Yep. My first time to the track, I know you remember. I was with a couple friends, and yeah, we were supposed to be there at 7. I mean, they brought their motorcycles and I rented one, so it was a little easier on me because the bike was already prepared for me as I
Right,
thought. So as we got there, I just showed up and I didn't know like they were gonna be on track like right then and there, you know.
right,
So like I was just a little bit behind, and they were like, "Oh, you have to run the tech. You have to sign this. You have to do this." And they were like, "Where do you missed the meeting?" And I'm just like, so uh, that was my first slap on the wrist. So I would definitely from then make sure I get a spot and try to get there early for
right,
whatever track I go to because I hate that feeling.
right. Now, let me ask. So, after the first time, have you been on time since?
Okay. For the most part,
Yeah.
yes, because well, after that, maybe I was a couple times I was probably not on time because it was just too early. But since then, I've been camping out at the track,
Right.
so
And it does.
I'll be there night before the things I have to do. So I just wake up and just get right into it.
And that does happen, I mean, not being able to get there on time, whether because it's a long
Happens.
commute, because it's work, or whatever life event. So I'm not sitting here saying, anything other than if you can get there, be on time. But if, I mean, if you can't, it is what it is. You're going to hear things like that because it just makes it run smoother when more people are on time. Because the folks that are working at the track, they don't want you to travel all this way for you not to get on, or however far you travel. They don't want that for you, and then you can't get on the track. They want you to get on the track, but sometimes that doesn't happen because you're a little bit later than they can do anything about. So you know, and again, the seasoned people know. We know it's like, okay, you're getting in late. You already know you're missing this and you're missing that. You accept your faith. But when you're new, you don't realize, like, okay, if you're late after a certain point, the cutoff is what it is, and you're going to be hanging out Saturday morning, uh, you know, and playing catch up.
Oh yeah, we've done that before. It's make sure you got all the gear, new helmets if you need it, and all that good stuff. I know my helmet expired, so um, I had to purchase a new helmet,
Hmm.
and I like a certain brand, so I had to wait a little while for it to become available.
Okay.
So it's finally here, so I can pull it out next year and not be worried for
Nice,
now.
nice.
But yeah, my helmet did expire this September of 2023. It was manufactured in 2019, and for our club series, 5 years is it's over. So
Right. Um, which, I've ran into that problem. I've had to buy a helmet in mid-season. I've had to buy a helmet because I crashed too in mid in mid-season. But these clubs, they do have rules about those things, and it's important to pay attention to the manufacturer date on your helmet. Even if you're looking to buy a helmet for next year, all right, and there might be deals on helmets now, but you got to look at the manufacturer date on those helmets, because if it's a year old or something like that, you just you're not going to be able to use that helmet for the length of time that you have available based on the club rules. So it is important to, like, if you're riding in 24 and you have to buy a new helmet, buy a 2024 helmet.
sure. I brought my when I first started, I brought my helmet from the street that I was riding with. So I had no idea that they would check like the manufacture date and stuff like that. So as you see, this helmet right here, it's retired now. Um, it went down in turn 1A at Loudon. So
Right.
it's missing the little winglet, and it's missing. Oh well, it's scratched on the other side. Um, still usable, but can't race in it. So it's on the shelf now. Just see.
Right. And same thing. I've had one helmet. I'll tell you, I bought it in 2017. I think I did 2 rounds on that helmet, and maybe 3 rounds on that helmet, and then I low sided and got ran over, and the face the like for riders that don't wear helmets and gear and stuff like that on the streets. Obviously, you have to do it on the track, so I'm not talking to those folks. Anything can happen in any moment, and for me, like I'll get a photo of that helmet and post it at some point, or I'll get a in this video. You'll see it. You'll see it. So it'll be up, and helmets they work. Gloves, the jacket, all that stuff works. And I know for places where you don't have helmet laws and anything like that, it's cool. But like at least a helmet, at least gloves, and at least riding boots, because those things will save you from damaging your hands, which you need, damaging your feet, which you need, damaging the brain, which you need. And I would say jacket and pants as well. But okay, if you want to get some road rash on your back, okay, on your chest, okay, on your shoulders or whatever, your legs or whatever, okay. Um, but minimum, at least riding boots. You know what I'm saying? And that's yeah. So you see, TJ got his helmet. It's missing some pieces back there from his crash. You know what I'm saying? But but you look at his face, he's intact, and
Good.
and that's the most important thing. That's why when you look at the cost of these things, um, just think about it like this: it's cheaper to buy riding gear than it is to replace a body part, skin graft, or any of that stuff. And there's some riders out there that I know that's never gone down, and their life is like they're like, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and if I go down and I go, that's God's way. Um, I've gone down 8 times. I don't know what God is trying to tell me. You know what I'm saying? But I do know from racing, falling is part of going faster, and not necessarily like this is the way I should be going out. And I got a screw in my hand. I'm missing a spleen, and gear has protected my skin and my brain and all that stuff. So the helmet's the bare minimum, but you should jack that up a little bit.
I mean, that's a big debate in certain places. There's still states that have no helmet laws, which I'm okay with because like it's not like a major city where well, that it's not like where where I
Yeah,
live,
absolutely
where
right.
it's just chaotic with cars, like and everyone's in a rush, and like
Correct.
some of the places that have no helmet laws, it's like you feel more free riding. But as me personally, just protecting my body, that's just how I feel. All the gears out there compared to like years ago,
Hmm.
like now they have gear where you can wear motorcycle gear and go out to a dinner or somewhere else and not even be noticed that you're wearing motorcycle gear. It's
Yeah.
just more casual nowadays.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, I got.
just
I have. I have riding shoes. I have Kevlar jeans. I'm gonna get a flannel shirt that I can ride and can take a certain amount of impact and definitely low riding. Stuff that you're not riding aggressive or anything like that. For sure. But my first accident, a deer ran across the highway. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even cars or vehicles, right? It's animals that can take you out. You know what I'm saying? So, and I didn't, and I didn't even think of that until that happened to me. I'm looking out for everything else, and now I'm looking out for deers. Now I know when deers come out to eat and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you never know. And if I feel if I got into riding younger and in a state where there was no motorcycle laws, I probably wouldn't be wearing a helmet. I mean, you become part of the culture, right? So it is what it is. I respect those guys and gals that rock that. You know what I'm saying? Um, I came into racing, so I didn't come in like I didn't, yeah, like as Jim would say, yeah, I did a track day the first day at Penguin, but realistically, I wanted to race. And you know what I'm saying? And so for gear for me, and also like I crashed like a year later, like I said, with my first crash with deer. Um, so for me, and I had gear on, you know what I'm saying, and I saw what it did to keep me intact. So my mindset was just like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna wear gear, and that's what I've been doing, and even in hot weathers, you know what I'm saying, it's like 85 out, 95 out. I'm on my Ducati. Everybody knows the ducks run hot. I'm out there sweating at the light. You know what I'm saying?
Like on the
Uh,
lights.
but now I got to buy a different bike for the summertime just to stay cooler. But I believe in the gear, and I'd rather be hot with gear on than not because I can't even ride without gloves. You know what I'm saying? So it's even on a scooter, I got gloves on, I got riding shoes on. You know what I mean? That's just how I'm wired based on how I got into riding.
I can say that when I first started, I wanted to protect myself because I didn't want to fall. So I knew it was if not if but when. Um,
Exactly, it is Wayne.
so like I had all the gear, and once I got comfortable, like I actually fell with my gear on, you know, with my first street bike. And then as I got comfortable with the years, I started taking off layers, like,
Right,
all right, I don't need a jacket this time, all right, I don't need boots. I'm gonna wear my Nike Dunks or something and cover 'em with a sock and do all that good stuff because it's just I started getting more comfortable. But
right,
after going to the track and doing the speeds we do there and just knowing what the suit can do, and when I got back to the street, I cannot go on my street bike without wearing my riding boots. Always wearing a jacket if it's a mesh jacket or
right,
textile, and I always got gloves and my helmet. So
right,
that's like
right.
my baseline.
Yeah. And
So
and look, we get it. Like motorcycle riding is a very expensive sport, right? So yeah, to have a jacket for when it's cold, or I shouldn't say jacket. Have gear when it's cold, when it's hot, when it's warm, when it's freezing. Um, it's a lot of money, right? No doubt about it, right? It's a lot of money. But the protection you get from it is to me is cheaper than the protection you get if you don't have it and you go down.
that is a fact.
That is fact.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah,
You
man.
still can get hurt with gear on, but just better chance.
Yeah, and nowadays the technology on the gear and the type of things you can wear is pretty impressive. You know what I mean? So it is. It's not like before. You don't have to look like a superhero. You can look like just however you want to look and still be somewhat protected. Not as fully as having leathers on, but at least you got more protection just having regular, street gear, regular clothes on. That you know what I'm saying. That's not designed for you to be on a motorcycle if you go down.
So someone's working on some type of crazy motorcycle technology thing. I don't know if it's out yet, but that can't be. But like I keep seeing it on like Instagram and Facebook. It's like a virtual guy on a bike. When he falls, his whole body wraps in a uh
Yeah, like a airbag.
yeah, airbag.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen
It's,
that
it's,
as well. Yeah, I
it's
think
like,
that technology is going to come out eventually because
yeah.
my suits, my Dionysus suits, they got airbags in them, and I've crashed without a suit with the airbag in it, and I've crashed with a suit with an airbag in it, and give me an airbag every time. Yeah, every time. So if it wraps around me, even better. You know what I'm saying? It
Oh,
may not protect you if you hit something that's not moving. The case in point, that's how I lost my spleen. But if you roll down the road, slide down the road, tumble down the road, and stuff like that, you get more protection with it. And so yeah, so I would love for that to be out where it just you know, you know what I'm saying? Because some people need it just going down the stairs.
yeah. I had a few friends falling down the stairs before, but that was on
Listen, I've
you
fallen down the stairs before
you
too.
probably need an airbag for that.
So let me tell you,
Uh,
I speak from experience. You know,
Luckily, I don't have many steps, but
right?
my old place had some steps, and a
You know,
couple people fell down those steps. It's pretty funny. They're okay, but
not a good look ever to fall down the
they had an
stairs.
airbag. They'd be much better.
Yeah, yes. So yeah, no. So yeah, so I think that technology will come out at some point. You know, especially in they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out because that's what you need to a degree at some point. How much of it will it help? Who knows? But like more protection you
Want
have,
to
the
get more
better.
people riding.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Be all
Uh,
the way protected. Cover your whole body.
exactly. Speaking of riding, MotoGP for 2024, man. Rule changes, contingency, not contingencies, concessions. What's going on there, man?
Well, I don't know how the concession system looked before. Just as you know, getting into MotoGP a lot, and very interesting of how 2024 is going to play out because, as you know, there's 8 Ducati bikes, and pretty much all 8 are dominant. All 8 can win.
Pretty
You know,
much.
the winner is on a Ducati
I think
two
all
years in a
eight
row.
have won. Maybe
Yeah,
Luca
and
Marini last
the
year
runner up.
might not have won, but podium.
I'm not even sure if this.
No, like let's Alex Marquez has won.
Yeah,
Obviously, Pecco, Martin, Zarco, Bezecchi,
pretty much. Oh yeah,
the Gin
you're likely
Antonio.
right.
Yeah, so I think maybe Marini podium, but didn't win. I could be wrong. He could have won, but definitely podium.
Yeah, but it's like I said, I don't know how the contingency looked last year. I should check.
Hmm.
Uh, but it really looks like Honda and Yamaha, if they take advantage, should have a great year, or they should set themselves up to be pretty dominant coming into the next season
Yeah,
after so
next few seasons.
2025.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I would
and
say they have about 3 years. I mean, we'll see what happened at the end of 2024. But realistically, you think about how long Ducati had to endure. I mean, you're talking about
oh yeah,
Casey Stoner, right? And even Casey Stoner struggled, and the bike was bad then. And it took almost 10 years before Dovizioso and those guys, I think 2015, 16, those guys started, I remember, so it's not quite 10 years, but close to 10 years, the bike started to get on the podium and stuff like that. So um, it's,
it's
it's,
crazy. And
it's,
they did develop everything too.
right.
So
It's nice to say 2, 3 years, but it could take longer because Ducati struggled for a minute. Granted, Honda's money is long, so I think Honda will figure it out quicker because they got more money to throw at it. And for them, it's all pride. They've been doing this thing for so long. They're gonna throw money at it. I can't. I mean, Suzuki bowed out, but I don't. Honda's not gonna bow out. Those guys are very confident. Their confidence is what got them in this place because they didn't evolve. But they got confidence, and Yamaha, I suspect them as well. I think Yamaha needs a couple more bikes on the grid to
I
really
do too.
help. You know what I mean? But it's really yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I don't know the percentage of points that's uh still working on, but there's been a tire issue, especially getting closer to the end of the season.
Hmm.
Um and Pecco had a couple tire issues. So um the test tires that they're able to use, like it's tremendous. Like they have 260 test tires that Honda and Yamaha can
Wow.
accumulate.
Wow.
Um and according to Ducati, who's the number one on the list, where they allowed 170.
Hmm.
So that's 90 more tires
Okay.
for Honda and Ducati. I mean, Honda and Yamaha to take advantage of. And
Excuse me.
besides that, they can use any test rider for any circuit of the calendar. Or
Right.
and Ducati can only use 3 circuits. Now I don't know which circuits these are,
Hmm.
or how to use them, but they can only use test riders and they can only choose 3 circuits, as opposed to Honda and Yamaha,
Right.
where you can use anybody and any circuit, and they have 90 more tires than Ducati. So that's a slight advantage. I don't like I said, I don't know how it looked last year of who was at the bottom of the food chain, but for how Honda looked last year, I mean, their tires weren't doing anything for them. So
Right. I do
they
believe
missed.
it's
You know,
I do believe it's not a small but a big advantage, because like I said, Honda's money's long. So, uh, for them, they have a better chance of you know getting it figured out quicker. Although with Mark Marquez, what he did even in the last round, or what he's been doing, like he's showing that the bike is close, even though it's not really good. I mean, that's my word, not his. Um, you know what I mean? But he's been able to make the bike in the top seven, right? He either crashed out or he was in the hunt, right? So I think if Marini and Zacco can ride the bike similar, and also the knowledge they have from Ducati, if they can do what Jack Miller did for KTM, yeah, Honda has a really good chance of getting there. And so it'll be interesting to see. Now, in Yamaha's case, though, they're just lacking grip, right? They can if they throw the
they're
power at
lacking
it.
overall top speed too.
Yeah, yeah, that's something. But well, they have the engine, but the problem is with the engine they don't have any grip, so they get wheel spin, right? So they're not getting the so they
On the
can't.
speed.
You know what I'm saying?
Can't touch.
So for them, it's not like a handling problem. Honda's still got to figure out their handling problem. You know what I'm saying? Their feel problem. For the Yamahas, it's just not enough power and not enough power that they can control or they can actually use, right? I should say. And who knows? Once they can use it, maybe their handling may also show up in that too. Who knows? But it seems like when they have the power, they can't get it to the ground. And so where Honda, they got the power, but that bike doesn't give them any feedback. So they don't. They all it's you know.
So yeah, they need the tires for sure because um I don't know. There's you need the feedback to
Right.
get an advantage.
Right, and those bikes are so rigid, right? I mean, you look at the Moto2 bikes. When you hear from what you hear from riders and stuff like that, and how much compared to like R6 or a street production super bike or a super sport bike, right? Or even super bike. You know the it seems like I don't know, I haven't heard this in Moto3, but Moto2 and MotoGP, um, you know, it's not a lot of feeling. It's the feeling is there, but it's not enough like street bikes. So you really, I don't want to say you have to be Beethoven, with your ear or something like that, but you really have to have that, surgeon like feel to your hands and your legs to be able to feel what the bike is doing because it's not going to give you a lot of feedback. So the little feedback you have to be able to interpret that you get.
And well, I know like the strategy has to be different as well because having less tires for like Ducati. All right, so like how do we use these 170 tires to get an advantage?
Right,
And with Honda and Yamaha, like how do we use these extra tires to get an advantage? I knew one thing is for myself, I know when you got me into racing, I couldn't afford tires like that. So
right,
I was always checking with you, like, hey, how much tire you think I have left? You're like, oh, you got plenty of tires. So I kind of learned to ride on a
use
used
time.
tire kind of to the end. And then as I started to get faster, I lost it on the tire because it just had no life left.
Right,
And that's how I started to figure out like how tires felt because then I threw on a brand new rubber and started to get a feel under me and then it just everything just started to click a little more.
right.
And yeah, so Extra
I
tires definitely help, sure.
yeah, I do like to use tires. I'm not gonna lie. I remember
Oh,
changing
I
a
feel you
tire,
use tires for
and
sure.
and
Thank you, Ann. He
huh?
gives me a lot of good thoughts. I was saying thank you to Ann, he gives me a lot of, used tires, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I was saying
definitely
like,
take
I was changing my tire, and the fucking guy was just like, "You really wore that tire, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, I started to get movement in turn six." Um, but we've said this on the show before. Being able to use tires and be able to manage them is very important when they're used. So a lot of people like to throw new rubbers on every few races and stuff like that. And MotoGP doesn't get that. Superbike, all the top levels, any of these endurance races stuff, they don't get that luxury. I mean, obviously it's a cost, so it's not a luxury, but you have to learn how to manage that tire. You're talking about the concessions, and you look at KTM and Jack Miller. He's a rider that he should be a top four, top five rider, and like it seems like the tire issues just really hurt them, right? Especially him, and other riders where other people like Pecco, Zarco, Bezecchi, Marquez. These guys can handle tires. Vinales can't handle a used tire. Polisparga, LH can't handle a used tire well. You see these guys, but other folks, when the tire goes down, what I'm saying, they still can hold their times. They may not go faster, but they don't really start to fall backwards.
yeah. That's one thing I noticed, when I use my used tires and, with the competition I'm with and I started drifting back. I mean, yeah, they're really skilled. They probably expanding their skills and stuff like that. But I'm just like, well, I feel myself drifting backwards,
Right, right,
and this tire is done.
right.
But yeah,
And
it's like Jack Miller needs to manage the tires a little better. They're getting actually 220 out of 170 over Ducati. So KTM's getting more tires this year. So hopefully that'll help Jack.
Right. Yeah, hopefully, because KTM's close, Aprilia is close, and like the concessions that you mentioned. For Honda and Yamaha, it's a pride thing because they've dominated MotoGP for so long that for them, this is unheard of that Ducati's coming through. KTM, who just been in MotoGP from 2017, is doing better. It's a pride thing for those two. So they have no choice but to get better. But KTM, Aprilia, these guys, they've been struggling for a minute, and they're just starting to see the light for the very. They're just starting to taste it for the very first time. So is it fair for Ducati that they don't have the same concessions? I don't know what it was like before for them when they were struggling, because they struggled from 2007 to 2016, right? I'll say, and I can even add one more on that. And I don't know if they had this. I don't know if they had concessions. Cause I'd have to go look at old videos and just see if they were mentioning concessions for those guys. But I don't know if they had them. So I don't know if it's like if Ducati's like, okay, well, why are these guys having concessions? Because they haven't evolved, right? It's not like they don't got a whole bunch of world titles sitting, in their space, right? So I can see
Just
that, but say again.
I don't just think they're just not evolving, the way the fastest they want the sport to evolve. I guess I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
they didn't, it's one of those things, I think for the Japanese, which is rare that they do. But when Ducati started developing wings and, the ride height and these things, they didn't, they're playing catch up, right? They I don't know if they were laughing at that at Ducati and oh, you got wings, ha ha. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff, right? And your ride height device, yeah, whatever. Lower rear spoiler for the rear tire to cool. Ah, ha, ha. But now they're copying Ducati, right?
yep.
Everything that they're doing is copying Ducati, and you can't be Milli Vanilli. I'm sorry, you can't be a cover band. You can't. You got to find a different path, and they have the engineering. They have the money. They have the smarts. So I assume, based on past experience, that they will figure it out. Is it fair that they're getting concessions like they just got into MotoGP? I kind of lean with Ducati on that because yeah, figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Because the Lakers don't get concessions. The Celtics are not getting it. You know what I'm saying? The Patriots, I mean, it's a different sport. I know, different leagues and all this stuff. But they're not getting it. And Yamaha got money, and Honda has money. KTM has money. Probably the only one that don't really have the money is Aprilia out of the bunch. Ducati got money. Go Volkswagen.
Well, I
Right?
mean, no, sorry.
No, see what I'm saying. So I think that from Ducati's standpoint, and they're taking a stance like, hey, why are you getting these concessions? It is kind of like, yo, yeah, why are they? But from a motorsport point of view, I get it, right? Because you don't want all Ducatis on the grid. From an entertainment, standpoint, you got Yamaha fans, you got Honda fans, you got Aprilia fans, and the Yamaha and the Honda fans are. Uh, I mean, I don't. I'm a fan of Ducatis. I've had enough to say I'm one of them. But at the same time, I suspect there are more Yamahas and Hondas than Ducatis around the world. You know what I'm saying? So, say again.
You want to see them on top once in a
Yeah,
while too. So,
yeah, and they've been on top for a grip, so it's not like they ain't been on top. But
yeah.
from MotoGP standpoint, from doing a FIM, these guys, they're like, yo, it, they want to see, Yamaha's going to listen. Yamaha's going to sell less. Honda's going to sell less if they're not at the front. It's just facts, right? They're not gonna get new business. They might got their diehard supporters, but they ain't getting new business if they ain't winning.
I mean, possessions gets even better. So like Ducati has 0 wild cards.
Wow.
Um, Yamaha and Honda allow 6. So I know, like we used to see KTM with the little samurai Danny Pedrosa. It was exciting to see him.
Right.
It's exciting to see these type of riders come back. So Ducati, you ain't gonna see. I mean, they have 8 bikes, but you're not gonna see any wild cards with them.
Right.
They also only allow 7 or 8 engines, where Honda and Yamaha are allowed 9 or 10. And again, I don't know how many engines they go throughout the year. I don't think they really specify on that,
Right.
unless they go over. I guess I
Right.
remember there was one year where a team, like I think Yamaha, had to use an extra engine. They got penalized for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But just keep in
and
mind, for Ducati, there's 8 bikes, so they still get a lot more engines than
oh
than
yeah, of
Honda
course.
and Thing get.
Like I was like, hey, part two, let me get that.
Yeah. Exactly.
engine."
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
and also the engine specs is on what it shows as freeze. And I'm assuming that's just like a
Can't try
limit.
new parts. Yeah.
Yeah. And Honda and Yamaha it's free, so they have free range, and they have 2 updates, and everyone else is allowed 1. So um, I can see why Ducati, or even some of the riders may just be like, "Hey, what is this?"
Right.
I'm
No,
sure it's not as much for Honda and Yamaha, but Aprilia and KTM,
no.
because they had solid years too.
Yeah, it makes sense for Ducati to be upset with it because they've dumped a lot of money in to be where they are. There's no question about it. It's not they didn't get there by luck. They spent the money,
Yeah.
and
They want to be on top for years, not
yeah,
not just 1 2 years.
right. And so for them, and it gets tricky because when you get riders leaving and they're walking away with the tech, you saw what Jack Miller did for KTM with the information he had from Ducati, right? And we're probably gonna see that with Luca and also Zarco. Those probably gonna be the 2 fastest guys in Honda next year because they know something that the other riders don't know, and you know what I'm saying. So for Ducati, that's something that they're gonna have to manage somehow, and I don't know how they do that because, like I said, they always all the other manufacturers have been copying Ducati now for at least 4 to 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So,
Sure.
for them, it's kind of like they're trying to fend off with rules and regulation. You know what I'm saying? As well as trying to keep what they're innovating top secret, which is very tough if they're
It,
changing writers.
it was like one time where well, I'm gonna just give an example of when I saw Ducati power. I was watching the first race a couple years ago at Lusail,
Hmm.
and Suzuki was going down the straightaway, and Ducati just went by it like it was standing still.
Easy.
And it's like, what the what? Like they couldn't handle the turns as much as Suzuki then, but like the top end power that they have, I'm sure it's because of that when they hit the straightaway at that time, they hit the ride height device,
Right.
that some bikes didn't have,
Yep.
and they have wings, and I think they got checked out too to make sure it wasn't cheating. But now everybody seems to have the same style bike with with the front winglets and
Wing,
stuff
rear
like that.
wing.
They're
Oh
putting
yeah.
on
No.
disc
It.
brakes,
Yeah.
they're putting on tails, they're everywhere.
And there's stuff that Ducati has done that they've been forced to undo too. So it's not
Yeah,
even, you know what I'm saying? So it is definitely, they've been trying to slow their progression down for a little bit now. And but look, if Ducati reigns for another 10 years, I'm not going to be upset. You know what I'm saying? But the powers to be ain't going. They're not letting you just run with it wild, which is a downside. You know what I'm saying?
I
So I do
mean,
feel
hey,
for them for not having the same concessions, especially when they really only been dominating a couple of years. It's not like they've been dominating 6 years, 7 years, and then they bring it in. It's only been a couple. And but again, like I said, for the competition overall and MotoGP overall, Honda needs to have a skin in the game. But again, when Honda was winning and Yamaha was winning, everybody just made fun of Ducati.
man, yeah. I mean, when I
So
was riding, everyone still loved Ducati, but I guess so. But we'll see.
You love the street bike, but they weren't winning in MotoGP, right?
No, they
So
weren't. Yeah.
so you know what I mean, and that so, but it is what it is.
So you got everyone thinking Mark Marquez is gonna win it this year. I mean, and now he's on a Ducati, so he doesn't get all the perks as Honda is getting this year. But I'm saying Pecco just won two in a row. He's dangerous for year
I
three. So
Yeah, I think for the next
I
next
gotta.
year and the year after, maybe the next 3 years. Um,
I know Mark wants to improve, but Pecco is in the way right
yeah,
now.
Ducati's going to win the world title the
Yeah, of
next three
course.
years. There's just because
Yeah,
there's eight
I
of
can
them.
see it.
There's just eight of them, and all eight
Three
has a good
times.
shot of winning.
Yes, for sure.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
And consistency too. You know what I mean? So um, I think the next 3 years easily, but you never know. Let's see what Pedro Acosta can do. He's definitely a wild horse. Jack Miller is still there. The KTM's are still there. All four
Pedro said
KTM's. I think all four KTM's. I'm not gonna all four KTM's. I'll leave it at that.
Pedro, I don't know if it's true, but in a news clip it said that it's crazy to consider him a runner up for the world title as a rookie.
I don't know.
So
Look,
he's
again,
probably not trying to put the pressure on himself or try to
right,
have the hype, but I'm
right.
sure he is. I mean, he
Yeah,
was so
yeah.
determined to get here. I'm sure he's got to put something on.
Listen, and I say that with the biggest respect, whatever. Um, Mark Marquez is the best rider in MotoGP, right? Period. I know who won it the last two times.
Uh,
He's the best rider in MotoGP. Um, Pedro's he could. I'm not gonna say never. He's not gonna outride Mark Marquez. He's
He
just
ain't
he's
around right Pedro. I mean,
it's
Pecco.
possible. It's possible that KTM with the new chassis it gives him a feel because it's there. It is a top five bike, so it is there, right? I'm not gonna sit here and say it's not there because he's gonna have. I don't know if they all have 2024 bikes or if he's gonna get the bikes that Brad or Jack have. So the bike is competitive enough for him to be in the top five, right? It is. So, um, but we'll see. I'm not, and it,
3 months. 3 months.
3 months. I'm not gonna. I don't see it. I think Mark Marquez he has the skill set and the knowledge, and he got the machine underneath him. Um, that everybody else is going to have to work a lot harder. And and I'm not a Mark Marquez fan. Like I'm not but watching the guy for these many years now and whatnot, I don't have to like it, but I see what it is. It's you know what I'm saying. And Pecco's going to have to ride next year. Martin's going to have to ride. All of them going to have to ride next year. And
Oh,
and
those people
it,
coming
because
for blood.
you have to realize you know it's like Michael Jordan having the best supporting cast around him. Mark Marquez on that Ducati now. It's just like, yo, bro, I got the same weapon as you, and I didn't have the same weapon as you, and I was giving y'all
Yeah,
trouble.
trouble.
So,
That
so, so now I got the same weapon as you. So what? What? I just got to follow.
he's such a villain.
Yeah, I already follow
He
y'all
couldn't even.
around on a Honda, so I'm gonna follow you
He
around on a
couldn't even.
Ducati. Yeah,
He couldn't even break a smile. He was so happy. I know we
yeah,
talked about it
yeah.
before, but he's like, yeah, yeah, all in trouble.
Yeah, no,
But
and like so I'm not rooting for him. I'm a fan of the VR 46 guys and that I'm a
that's
fan of
the
Ducati.
problem.
You know what I'm saying?
And
But at the same time, I gotta recognize what it is, and like,
yeah,
you know what I'm
that's the
saying?
problem. Like,
That dude, how can I put it? Like they regardless if they looked up to him or Rossi, he was there. So whatever, you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But these other riders, they're gonna have to they're gonna have to step their game up.
well, that's the most interesting thing about race one because it sets the tone for the season.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, first couple races will really set the tone on where everyone stands. But race one, like you think about it, like Mark Marquez, race one, he's like, all right, if I'm gonna win this, I gotta start out good. Pecco's like, there's no way I can be less than podium.
Listen, that
Martine's like, I gotta start good. You know, all these guys on new manufacturers like Alex Rins. I'm sure he didn't want to be on a Honda. So 'cause that was, he was forced to
yeah,
because Suzuki backed
Suzuki.
out. So now he's got a new slate. He's like, all right, I got to start good.
Right.
Alicia's probably saying, I'm retiring at 35. I got to have a nice, good
Right. Right.
last
Right.
year, good run. I mean, these are all good riders, and Bezzecchi, you got Bassanini.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
that I think like
I will say
I don't
this:
know.
Rins, to me, Rins is a better rider than Quartararo. So
I didn't
um,
even mention Quartararo,
you
who
didn't.
just won a
I'm, but I'm,
championship.
but I'm saying like Rins on that Yamaha, I think is going to be able to do things on the
Me
Yamaha
too.
that Quattarari because he was able to do it
Really
on the
good.
Suzuki. He was able to do it on a Honda, right? And the tracks
He
where the
won on.
bike, huh?
I said he won on the Honda
That's what I'm
too.
saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I'm like he ain't got a title, but Renz ain't no slouch, and he got a bike that
Nope.
he and the Yamaha is similar to the Suzuki on how it turns. So that's like he's going back home. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
And then
it's like to go back to Mark Marquez and what we may see next year. Um, I think there's the mental game. Like again, it is like you know,
that's one
KD.
thing he has that no one else really does. He plays the mental game with riders.
Yeah, it's just it is. It's like LeBron James going to Miami or KD going to the Warriors. You know what I'm saying? You got one of the best talent going to on the best bike. And if it was me and I had a team and I had to pick between these guys, as much as again I'm not a Mark Marquez fan, but if I own a team and I want a rider, out of all 8 riders that's on that team, I'm picking Mark Marquez.
Okay. It's not a
I,
bad choice.
like no, I am,
He
and
got
I
world titles.
yeah, I hate to say it like that, but that's like he's like on not even on paper, on facts. You know what I'm saying? He got more wins than anybody else. He has no one to fear in MotoGP. The only person he probably kinda sorta feared was Rossi.
I
Kinda
mean, he
sorta. Like he's not gonna fear any of these guys that like you're Rossi's kids. I'm like I'm not like you're Rossi's kids. Come on.
I mean,
Like
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I thought before I started watching, I thought it was Rossi, Mark Marquez. I'm not. I don't even remember who I thought was under Mark Marquez.
Right. Yeah.
But then Pecco came out of nowhere, Fabio came out of nowhere, and then Jawan Mir got his.
Right.
But and
But
then
Marquez was hurt, and the bike
yeah,
sucked.
exactly. Mark Marquez
So
was hurt, so
yeah.
you know I feel like he's still king of this sport right
Yeah,
now.
he.
Um,
I think so. And after watching the
I just
test,
find it hard to see him winning it. That's the only thing. I really
if he stays healthy, he's in the hunt. If he
oh
stays
for sure.
healthy, if he
Can't
stays, if
deny
he, I
that.
mean, he can have, he can ride around problems.
When he was half healthy,
Right,
a
exactly,
year or two ago, he was still top 5
exactly,
rider of the year.
exactly, exactly,
So,
exactly. So that's what
and
I'm
he
saying.
didn't
Like,
participate for half
right,
the
right,
season.
yeah, yeah. No, Mark. If Mark, I would say this: if Mark Marquez come out and ride like Lorenzo, meaning that he goes out and just sets his own pace on practice and qualifying and stuff like that, he probably gonna have a lot of poles.
As long as Mark Marquez stays, keep the 2 wheels down, that's
Yeah.
it.
So I hate to be talking
As
about it
much
that
as
much
possible.
because I'm not like I'm not a fan, but the reality is he's a great rider, and he's on a great machine, and he doesn't fear these younger riders because he gave your boy a problem. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You know what I'm saying? He gave your boy a problem, and he's trying to chase more titles than your boy. So he don't see y'all, and he don't see nobody. He don't see
They don't see
nobody.
nobody right
He don't
now.
see nobody right
Everybody's
now. He's like y'all, like I'll do this for free because he and it it is what it is, right? I mean, he's where he's at, and it is what it is. What should have happened was Gian Antonio should have stayed where he was, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. But that didn't
well, I
happen.
think I'm gonna say relationships is everything too,
Yeah.
though. So I'm sure Digi had a great relationship. You see, like the way he speaks, he means well. So wherever
Oh,
he
for sure,
goes,
for
like
sure, for sure.
he's
No,
gonna
but it's like
kind of
if you can get Rossi or you can get Michael Jordan, if you can get
yeah,
Marquez, especially when you're a satellite team, you're gonna do it. Right, you're gonna do it. I don't. You're gonna do it. But you know, I can't wait for next season, man. That's all I can say.
it's a no brainer to have another family member if you could too. Like how easy is that? They can drive home together. Like I don't know.
No,
It's so much easier.
no doubt.
I'm assuming so, but
Yeah,
yeah, they must have a great relationship. And as we know, is like our club racing series, Neymar is just second to none. Like I know, like it's just I feel at home when I get there. So
right,
if
exactly.
I would have to be traded to another organization, it'd be a little hard. I'd be, you know, been bred into a good organization.
No doubt. I feel you there. We ran out of time, but we got to touch on Ninja. Kawasaki has a Ninja 500 coming out. Aprilia got a RS 457 coming out. Bigger twin engines. Is there a new racing class coming for us?
It seems like it because I'm seeing like R7s and R8s and all these other bikes, but like this Ninja 500, like when I first started, it was Ninja 300, and
Yeah,
then when I rented a bike, it's the Ninja 400. Now they have a Ninja 500. Like,
yeah.
what's going on?
I don't know. I can't wait. These small bikes, man, they're fun to ride. They're really great bikes to train on and get better
They
on.
are fun.
So, having a bike with a little bit more horsepower that you can go out there and go a little bit faster than the KTM or Ninja 400 or 300 or whatever the case may be, but you're not really jumping up to like a middleweight class and stuff like that, or even a lightweight class. It's really nice to have that. So, I think they recognize the market and sees it, and kudos for both those brands for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, these new bikes are starting to look like you walk up to them, you can't even tell like what size is that, what year is that. They're looking that good, so
Right.
it looks pretty nice. This Ninja 500. Of course, they got the keep the Cowie green colors.
Hey, listen, man, it is what it
Tradition,
is. We bleed green up that way, man. Come on.
right?
No
Waiting to
doubt.
see any other colors, but the green one looks very nice. I
No
like it.
doubt. I'll shout out the
Probably make
sponsor.
my niece to get one.
There you go. Somebody got to get one. You got to
I
get
don't
one.
know. She got a Kawasaki. No, yeah, she got a 250 out here.
Okay.
So
Time for upgrade. Shout out to the sponsors: GoPro, Agio, Engine Ice, Motul, Hamden Yard. I want to tell shout out to folks that subscribe in. Thank you very much, and for likes and click that notify button and tell a friend, as they say. TJ, you want to shout out your sponsors?
yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for watching for sure and like and subscribe. And I like to thank Vortex and Hideaway Rentals and J&G Performance and Woodcraft Technologies for always being available and helping me out. Thank you guys.
Peace.
Peace out.